and welcome to Beyond the Exposition, the podcast for the website of the very same name. We are the podcast that says, you'll get it when we're ready. Also, I can finally say, for the first time in 2 months, I have in my company, Mr.
Hey, very, very, very good night.
What the hell, Nick? We got standards, man. Alright, we got Nick. He's back. Nick,
Hi, Don.
where have you been? I've been here.
I've been...
All over Europe, perhaps? Let me see. You were AWOL, neglecting your duties?
abroad.
You've been abroad, you've been globetrotting, you've been in England, you've been in Denmark. Were you in Spain?
I'm going to go to Italy soon.
Oh, Italy, how wonderful. Who would have guessed? Is there another job offer over there? Or is it just...
Nah, just weddings and groceries and...
Mafia weddings and extreme ways to dodge paying tax on your groceries there, Nick.
Nah, it's not.
Okay. In all this time that you were globetrotting, you kind of cancelled on a few recordings, didn't you?
I know.
I won't say the number to save your embarrassment. But for me, could you just hold up?
I would say...
Hold up your hands and count on your fingers how many times you cancelled.
I would say no more than
You can't,
two. No
because
more
you
than
don't
two.
have enough fingers.
No more than two.
For the listeners, I'd just like to say Nick has all his hands and all his fingers. So you do the math.
My hands are full.
Of plane tickets, because that's where you've been. With me, I'm at fault too. I cancelled on one occasion.
I tried to bring it on the book as an even match of cancellation.
Yes. If it was a football match, it'd be around 12-1. You'd be winning.
This is usually the score that you get when I play FIFA with you.
FIFA, and that's the reason I had to cancel that one time. It's because we were practicing for, what's his name? He's for a listener of ours. He's called Jerry Hendricks.
Where is from?
Oh, he's from America or somewhere.
Finally, we got our man from
Massachusetts.
As I
How long have you been
desired.
waiting for this? Does he realise that you hate him? He's a good guy. We've banned FIFA
I have to
as a
beat
result
him.
of it
I have
because
to.
we've spent a lot of time practicing FIFA, too much time. We even had a film. We decided, it'll be brilliant. We'll do a film, this damned United film. That's about football. We can do it. We had to drop it
But the
because of a
reason,
new FIFA ban, and it was kind of rubbish. Right, this week, I don't like the studio. This is Studio 2, by the way. I'm not so much in love with it because, oh my god, I'm speaking like an Italian now. The last time we were here, there was a snowstorm, and now there's a thunderstorm. This is bad juju. It's a bad omen, Nick.
Why? I think it's so romantic. I mean,
Excuse me.
the bad weather is with us.
This is Ireland. The bad weather is always with us. The lineup for today. Nick, stop reading Sight and Sound.
Why?
I'm not plugging it because we don't need it, man. We're trying to bring art house films with limited release to the public, to the masses.
Okay, I give you.
They're middle class.
I give
people.
you an hint. Yes, but no, but yes.
Little Britain. Is that in the Sight and Sound? Is that the level of Sight and
I
Sound?
am a lady.
Because
Emily, I am a lady.
yes, he's saying I'm a lady. Because if that's the level Sight and Sound have got to, we've already risen above them, and we were aiming much, much lower.
I think that we have the same readership of Sight and Sound.
Well, you listen to the podcast and you read Sight and Sound, so yes, we do have the same listenership. On this week's show, we've got last year's French Pandora winner, but only out recently, The Class. We've got a
If you want, I can tell you the French title.
Entre Les Murs?
Bravissimo.
I know, I can speak French, Nick.
Great.
You didn't know that, did you?
I didn't know, no.
How many times have I brought that up when a French film comes along?
You're such a sly dog.
I know. Bow wow. We also got a Swedish vampire film, but it's not really. It's more like...
Odd porn, vampire, horror.
Did you say odd porn?
Yeah, I did.
All right. Good. It's an odd porn Swedish vampire film. But it's really just like a mix between My Girl and The Addams Family.
Also,
we've got 70s classic, The Network, which is more relevant today than it ever was.
absolutely.
And we've also renamed the questions section to How Would We Know? If you do have any questions, you can either leave a comment on the site or email us at questions.bte@gmail.com. You can now subscribe to us on iTunes. You got to be careful though when you're subscribing to us. When you look up Beyond the Exposition, you get this religious experience podcast. which is called Journey into Wholeness with Dr. Stephen Manley.
Really?
Yeah.
We are basically up.
Up against God in America. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I know. First up on Beyond the Exposition, we have got a little French film. It's called The Class. Now, it's been around in a few cinemas for nearly a year now, but that's because it was last year's Pandore winner in the Cannes Film Festival. Now, what caught our attention about this film is not just that it's a rip-off of season 4 of The Wire, but the guy who wrote it, say his name.
François Bégodeau.
François Bégodeau. Did I say it right?
Great. You're a Frenchman, man.
Poisson Rouge.
He's the writer.
Yes,
The
it's
actor?
based, first of all, it's based on a book of the same name, probably. I'm not sure. I don't know. He wrote the book, he wrote the screenplay, he acted in the film. You'd think it'd be a one-man show, but it's not. It's more about the school and its own little microclimate. It doesn't go beyond the walls of the school, hence the title. But what we do get from the outside world is the teachers themselves and the students, and it's set in a disadvantaged area of a multicultural Paris. So all those characters come together in this one melting pot. Nick, your opinion. Is it a disadvantaged area?
On the outskirts of France capital, which, if I do remember well, is
Luxembourg.
Paris. Yeah, Luxembourg, exactly.
You speak French there too?
Basically, they have this such big mix between cultures. And this mix obviously leads to clashes between.
Or parkour.
He tries to mind about all these. This is the great interesting part of the movie. I think the movie makes you thinking about the relationship between teachers and pupils.
Like season 4 of The Wire. You'll get to it, don't worry. His acting in it was amazing. It was out of this world. I didn't know that he was the screenwriter, the writer of the book and all that. I was looking at him going, how could he know how to be a teacher so well? It was perfect. It was really like being back in school.
It was great, yeah. I mean, the only thing that I didn't really like about the film was that sometimes there wasn't tension. In a way, okay, you could reply to me saying, look, the movie, it's a documentary rather than fiction.
Mother of God, Nick, you watched that Mexican film. What was it about? We sat through that.
Which one? Mr. Regadas?
I don't know what that means.
Silent Light.
Silent Light, yes.
La
That
Luz
was a
Silenciosa.
struggle. That was painful. This wasn't so much a struggle.
I
It
know,
was
but
interesting.
I'm not saying that it was a struggle. I'm just saying that as the movie sometimes it seems to turn towards a moment of clash and a really strong fight between pupils and teachers, between teachers and teachers, then this fight never really arrives.
Well, that's because it's the year of a school. There's nobody holding the world to ransom or like a ninja attacking a big robot at the end. It's just a school. However, as you said, his students are they're like second, third generation Middle East, some are from Africa and so on, ex-French colonies. So they're all there. So they have their own ways of speaking and interpretations of words. And it's when he calls a girl cheap, it all erupts in the class. That's no way to talk to a woman. And he's trying to explain where he comes from. We're saying cheap isn't the end of the world. It's more saying disrespectful. While they were thinking you were calling him prostitute. However, how I saw the film is how he experiences his classes. I saw a downloaded version of the film. It didn't have English subtitles.
Just French.
No, it had no subtitles. They just spoke French. Even though I speak it, I don't want to listen to it. I went out looking for English subtitles for it. This was extremely hard to do. So much so. And it's only just out in the cinema in the English-speaking world. It's not even in America yet, 1 year on after winning Cannes or whatever they did.
They don't care about us, about Europeans.
It's in Italian. I've seen this. I was going to ask you to translate it for me. I had to get a computer program that translated it word for word. So just like the French teacher and the students.
But can I make a question at this stage? Can I make a question?
Highly illegal.
Why, instead to going through all these troubles, why you didn't buy a ticket? Actually, indeed, you don't have to buy a ticket because, as far as I'm concerned, you have a membership card and
yes, I have free cinema.
Yeah, I go to Cineworld or whatever damn place to watch it on big screen.
It was raining, Nick.
Ah, okay.
And I am afraid of the rain. Even
You're
though I am
lazy.
Irish, I'm not used to it. In Cork, it doesn't rain. You've been there. It's beautiful. So these translations, it got everything wrong. It was actually hilarious to read. It was like robotic poetry. I'll read a few lines for you. I like to play with beautiful girls. The teacher said that. Also, a boy in the back row said, I went of all wide pants, and all looked at me offside.
Fantastic.
I paused it, every single line, to read it and then to find out what it actually meant. As I said, it's robotic poetry. That was to do with a boy of Middle East origins going to an upper class / middle class place, and they all looked at him like he was a gangster with baggy pants. I know. That took a very long time to do. Do you know how long it took me to watch this film?
How long?
2 days.
No way.
2 days for
Why?
a film that's only 2 hours long. Because I had to pause all the time and I had to break it up into 10-minute bits. Because as you said, at times it was a struggle to watch. Here's another beautiful robotic poetry line out of it. But they are the mother's children. Children even. Does he / she already arrive? Doesn't it find? Now, would you know what that meant?
Doesn't make sense at all.
That makes no sense. And this is why you shouldn't download films. It's wrong. You go to prison for it.
So sweet.
But putting aside the problems I had with the film, as they were my own fault, as I wouldn't go outside the house to watch the film, and I used a computer to interpret art, something that has to be acknowledged is the fact that these people, even the children, they are not actors. They are just the normal children of the area, much like The Wire. But they're just so convincing in it.
Absolutely.
Maybe this really happened. Maybe this was just the cameras put in the school, as you said earlier on. It was just a documentary.
I mean...
I'm never... If I'm making a film, I'm not going to hire real actors because I'm going to have to pay them real money. I'll get somebody who's not in a union and they'll remember the lines just as easy. I won't even get a director because they're not all that important. It's all about the writer. In this film, the writer...
was the director.
Was the...
Director.
It wasn't the director. It was we said we don't like the director. The writer was the actor.
The director
and the writer
was
of the original book.
Kante.
I don't know.
Kante.
Is that important?
It's important. He's one of the new wave French directors.
Ooh, new wave. I thought
New-
it was
the
all
new-
about,
new wave.
I thought it was all about Romanian and Hungarian new wave at the moment. And another one, Uruguayan or Argentinian.
Mexico
Oh,
new wave.
Mexico. Oh, sorry, I forgot about that one. I'm
Mexican
not up
new
with
wave.
the cool kids. I like Hollywood blockbusters that have things blowing up in them. Or a French blockbuster. A French new wave blockbuster which has things blowing up in them. Case in point, Crank 2. High Voltage. Or The Transporter 3. Both starring Jason Statham. Why is he so big in France? These
Why?
films are massive.
Really?
Yeah. This is what the French people are going to see. There is us thinking they're all cultural and European and we will only think about philosophy. Our talk shows will be about highbrow things. They won't have Jonathan Ross. Or even us. In summary,
It's a great movie, definitely.
wonderful film.
Yeah, one of the best
No-
French movie.
Not exactly something you should go to the cinema to see. There wasn't that much visually going on in it.
No.
And trust me, you're going to need subtitles and good subtitles. So wait till the DVD comes out. Don't go downloading it. Downloading's wrong. This will happen to
Go to cinema to see it.
Is it still in cinema?
Absolutely, yes.
Wow. Next up is...
A great
Which was meant to be
one.
the next podcast. The amazing Lat den Rata komma in.
You,
Swedish, baby.
you're able to talk Swedish.
Of course. I
Unbelievable.
speak English most of the time. And I bluff that too. So for the rest of the world, it's known as Let the Right One In. No, it was written by John Avid Linsfit. See, that was perfect Swedish. And nobody knew otherwise.
And was directed by...
Thomas
Alfredson.
Alfredson. Yeah, it's kind of like Paul Thomas Anderson. It was spelled the same way. It really confused me. And two amazing little performances.
Keir Edebrand and Lina Leandersson.
It's a boy-girl story, just with vampires. Now, the boy is called Oscar, and he's much like Macaulay Culkin, just with no confidence whatsoever, and just as annoying. And then the The other child is played by Lena Landerson, the scene stealer, and probably star of the future. And she's only 13 years old in this, and she's got so much confidence.
So cute as well.
In A Shell of Nut, the film, it's about a boy with no confidence.
Who lives in a small...
Winter Wonderland.
Yeah, really white building.
Which makes blood show up even easier, which leads to his new neighbour friend, who is a vampire. But it's kind of like a buddy movie. It is like My Girl.
My Girl.
It's Macaulay Culkin and a girl who looks like you won, and Macaulay gets stung by a bee and he dies. That's the film.
Apparently she arrives there with father, with the secret lover. We don't really know.
Interesting that you'd say that, Nick, because... like every other film that ever existed, it was also a book. However, the people making the film decided to do something really rare. They tried to make it as authentic as possible towards the book. This created some problems as they tried to cram every single little detail in. And major details in the book only appeared for a brief second on screen, and you couldn't make sense of them, while in the book everything fitted together. So there's some bits that are just dropped all of a sudden and not seen again. No, as you just said earlier, she arrived in the town with this man. He is like Dracula's Renfield type character, a slave or a servant. He has to go out and get blood, things like that. In the film, it starts off like he is a mass murderer, going to really elaborate lengths to slitting people's throats and collecting blood, while we all know in real life, drinking animals' blood will do. We've all done it. In the book, however, it is made much more clear that he's a paedophile. In the film, he's just some dirty old manslave that follows her about.
Yeah, because basically in the movie he has a shadow presence. I mean, he's there, but he's not really there.
But the big thing that they left out is there's flashbacks.
Did you read the book, Don?
I don't read any books.
Oh, okay.
Someone told this to me. A person who'll be appearing on the show soon enough. In the flashbacks, we learn that the girl is not a girl, but a boy who was castrated.
Oh, that's interesting.
In the film, for a second, it shows... Remember when she's getting changed in the room?
Yeah?
And the boy, who's a little creepy little git, looks in at her. And you can see she used to be a he. In the book, he was castrated. But the boy realises this, and he still likes her. It's amazing. Because she is quite a convincing girl. So this is just a life lesson. If you do have a castrated boy, turn them into a vampire and dress them up as a girl. They'll be very convincing, and no one will mess with them.
Anyway, the movie was full of poetry. Thinking about the cinematography of the film, I think it's full of poetry. What do you think, Don?
Yes, poetry. Even the name of the film, which is taken from a Morrissey song, "Let the Right One Slip In."
Exactly, and then ask him why kept so long.
What's this?
The second part of the line, yeah. No, I don't think it is on your notes. It was just on my mind.
No, it's not. You're just reading that out of sight and sound again. Burn that book. It's not helpful to the cause. It doesn't matter what Dave said. We're trying to bring something new to it. Throw away all those works. We don't need them. You can't copy other people. You got to create something new.
No, I'm not able to create. I will copy. It's easy.
Hey, you're the man who travels all over Europe.
Yeah, but not to create. To copy.
You're creating something right now, as you said in the last podcast. We are art. You said it really arrogantly too.
I did?
Yeah, a few people brought it up and me going, was that scripted? And I'm going, no, he did that all by himself. You're not that arrogant.
Exactly. I'm a lady, Don.
Yes, Nick, you're a lady. Film, wonderful. Go see it. It's the latest hip thing. It's in all the newspapers.
For me, it's one of the best movie of the year, for sure.
This is coming from a man who hates horror, but also likes this and Eden Lake. Welcome to the world of horror. Well, it's not real a horror.
Nah, it's not.
Coming of
vampire,
age. Coming of age vampire story. Odd Swedish vampire pornography. You have created something new. Now go and make it. And I was thinking about it. If there are vampires, wouldn't Sweden be the ideal place to go? Somewhere in northern Europe, close to the North Pole, where it is dark for half the year. So you could be a vampire. You could be out all day, all night.
Without any problem.
Also, there's free dentists in Sweden. Wouldn't it be a great film to see, like Dracula fighting a polar bear?
Would be fantastic.
Nice.
Fantastic.
And now a section which we've rebranded once again, just like Nick's job title will be soon enough. It's a section we call, how are we supposed to know? It's where you send in your questions via email, comments, Twitter, as we've got some already. And we'll try and give our opinion on them. 'Cause damn it, we have opinions.
Yeah, sometimes.
Not so much on movies or films, but like, we got opinions. First question in is from Smooth Eamon Ripnick.
Sounds interesting.
Doesn't say where he's from. Well, he wants our opinion on the whole Pirate Bay
Swedish
court
guy.
case. Again, Swedish people. Them and their socialism. The court case thing at the moment. They got a year each in prison, or maybe 4.
They need to pay back like I don't know how many million of dollars. So the question is, from an illegal point of view, which we all download stuff, movies, music, are we really in the position to give an advice on don't do it? Do it. Yeah.
We give our show for free. This podcast is downloaded by people across Europe. A lot of artists agree with it, like Stephen Fry. He said on his Twitter page.
What he said?
He said, as a person with a copyright under his name and products, he is obliged to say he's against it, but he supports them. You could do it on a subscription basis where the overall profits is distributed among the film producers and stuff. We don't want to get into that because we don't know enough about it. The pirates at the forefront of change in how we consume and what we consume. They're ahead of the production and distribution studios. They have drove things like MP3 downloads, game add-ons, and user-generated content. If we look at a film I acquired last week, it was Marlon Brando's classic On the Waterfront. Inside the files were essays and web articles of the history and importance of the film. You don't usually get that in DVD add-ons, and you certainly don't get it in legally downloaded films. Here's an extract of one of these articles. Ila Kansan's film is still amazing after 15 years. It's curious how it parallels Kansa's own life in the way the main character, Terry Malloy, ends up naming to the commission investigating the corruption on the waterfront, the same way the director did in front of the HUAC committee presided by Senator Joe McCarthy.
Because we have to remember that at the time we were in the middle of the McCarthyism era, where this fucking senator was trying to blacklist all the people with a bit of creativity.
Because they were commies.
Because they're commies, yeah, according to his damn point of view.
Well, the Pirate Bay they're commies. They're free. They're
sharing. It's all about the sharing. Yeah.
Socialist. Okay, somehow that's our opinion on downloading. It's wonderful. It's brilliant. It's the future. We can't stop it. It's all been said before, blah 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 blah, but it is the best way for films with limited release to get out there into the world, as people aren't going to go to the cinema to see it, but they will download it and watch it in their own time, much like this podcast. Another contributor, a regular guy, Island Rich, he wants to inform us that the Pope's toilet, where's it from? Argentina? Uruguay, right, there we go. It's finally getting its American release.
Ah, fantastic.
Good. Wonderful. It was an average film.
Absolutely, yeah. But funny.
But good for it. And then Jerry H12 he's the guy from
Massachusetts.
Oh God, I can't say it now either. What's becoming of me? I've been hanging around at you too much. Massachusetts. There we go. He wants to know, do we know any good films or any good games? FIFA's a good game.
We can't answer to these questions.
Yeah, it's ask someone who knows about films. That's it from How Are We Supposed to Know this week. If you want to get involved, email us questions, queries, complaints to questions.bte@gmail.com. I'll leave a comment, or get to us by my Twitter,
Facebook, or any social networking.
We're not on Facebook or Bigo. You are, and I, individuals as individuals, not connected to the podcast, are on these social networkings, but the Beyond the Exposition does not have a social networking page.
Why? Are we on Twitter?
Yeah, we're on Twitter.
Ah, fantastic.
We tweet. Finally, on Beyond the Exposition, we have the ever-present feature of things we like, now you must like too. Today we have got Sidney Lumet's uber classic of 1976, Network. It wasn't the only Sidney working on the project. There was another guy, the writer. We must always big up the writers. They're the workhorses. He was called Sidney Jai Fiskai. But he changed his name probably to get more work as a comedian, so he changed it to an Irish name, to Paddy Jai Fiskai. Not only was the script award winning, so too was the film itself, along with the actors each having a career-topping performance by Faye Dunaway, William Holden, and Peter Finch as the news anchor turned prophet Howard Beale. The film itself is a dark satire which depicts the extent news networks will go to in the beginning of the ratings wars, or said in a simpler way, the beginning of profit-driven news.
Their comedy heavily focused on problems of media communication, how they deal with easy-to-influence audience.
I'm afraid it's far bigger than that, Nick. It doesn't just deal with audiences, it deals with the first generation gap clash between old-school presenters and producers who came from a time before TV, who deal in getting news and facts out to the people almost as a civil right, versus a generation who grew up on television, who believe in the provenance of an entertainment value, and by trying to be the most watched as opposed to being the highest of standards. All the while you must take into account that the news networks are now owned by international companies with their own profit-driven agendas. They can now use their newly acquired news networks to indoctrinate the public to buy their products. Nick, the state is dead. Long live the corporation.
Before to dive into deeply movie, I would like to make a reference pretty clear because I think it's due. Do you remember when we started to think about to podcast this movie? I told you Paul Thomas Anderson rated the movie as the most influential movie on his career. And he showed actually the movie Network to the cast of Magnolia before to start the shooting of Magnolia. It was like 1-2 weeks before I think they start to shoot. And he said before the projection started, let's watch this movie carefully because for me this is the most important movie ever made in the history of the cinema.
Yeah, in a way, Nick, he's right. Not just for the script or for the perfect deadpan acting. It's for its staying power, how it predicted the future. It's a film with tremendous staying power, a canned classic, how a film should end up. How, towards the actors, how an understated performance has ultimate presence. Something timeless. He was right to show it.
Definitely really influential for him as created the character. I mean, if you look Faye Dunaway.
Also in Bonnie and Clyde and Chinatown.
Yeah, basically she's Julianne Moore. Or Julianne Moore is Faye Dunaway. The way that she talks, the way she walks, the way that she acts.
My God, in this she was a cold woman.
Absolutely.
She plays the young, up-and-coming network exec.
But do you see any overlaps between Julianne Moore and Faye Dunaway?
I did, but I don't look at actors as a whole. I look at the roles they are playing in the film I'm watching.
Because you think, like Hitchcock did, actors are cattle.
Yeah.
Such
no, I just don't care about the connections. I don't care.
They give you feed to talk and to podcast, so you say they are cattle?
No, what I'm saying is I don't look at the actor as in their career. I look at their individual performances, as in the way they're meant to be looked at, as in anyone could have played that part.
So you are not interested in stardom?
It's got nothing to do with stardom. It's the part. It's all about so yeah, they are cattle. They're meant to play a character that was written already before them. They have to forget everything else they know in life and become this character. Like a bloody good method actor. Like a fellow podcaster Barry Glendenning said over at Football Weekly, actors are like props that eat. We were saying that this film stands for more than the sum of its performances, the writing and the directing, etc. Why this film is so important is that this fictional satire predicted the future of news entirely, as well as the prevalence of reality TV, 24-hour news channels with agendas, cynically profit-driven, scaremongering agendas, opposite politicized channels owned by the same companies. Now, with this in mind, take a look over at Fox News in America. Today we have right-wing driven, fear-generating news wizards who behave more like someone running for office than a neutral outlet of truth. Big old Bill O'Reilly over there, who is, I'm ashamed to admit, he claims to be of Irish heritage. He has been at it for a while now. However, recently, Fox hired a person called Glenn Beck. Now, to put it mildly, Glenn Beck has transformed himself into Network's brain-damaged preacher man Howard Beale. In Network, the news anchor Howard Beale has a nervous breakdown and starts to preach about whatever's on his mind without even thinking. It is his opinion and not news. Now, take in mind that this is the opinion of a madman. But the audience eats this up, so the network pushes him to continue regardless of the damage to his health, just to turn a profit for their parent company. There's a famous scene where Howard roars out to the audience spitting, "I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore," and demands of the audience that if they feel the same way, they should roar out too. Now, Nick, this is a news channel I'm talking about. Back to the present day, and the real-world hiring of Glenn Beck can be seen as quite a cynical move by Fox News there, turning one of their happy news anchors into a bellowing preacher of God, country and fear. He also has a show where he roars out to the audience to follow him on his righteous path. This is beautiful. It is sensitively called the 9/12 Project. He wants Americans to feel true love for their country again by conjuring up the anger they felt towards topics that they did not understand the day after 9/11. Now, Network escalated this in a move for profit-driven insanity. They have the Mao Zedong Hour on After Howard Show, a show that has terrorists making videos of their crimes and airing them. However, this transforms terrorists into profit-driven TV stars. That is all funded by the network. Therefore, the network is directly funding terrorism. Which, when you think about it, that's happening now with things like Al-Qaeda's proclamation videos. And news companies are turning a profit from this by showing it night and day. They've also got user-generated content. People with their camera phones recording catastrophic events like this tsunami. Cloverfield had Godzilla in it. That's got nothing to do with real life. However, Nick, as a little footnote about this whole Glenn Beck bit, you see, I had that lined up for the podcast for quite some time. But due to one of the crew suddenly going to London, I won't say who, Nick, I had to cancel the recording. While we were off air, the BBC's Charlie Brooker, a man who we all admire for breaking down the hypocrisy of news in the most satisfyingly funny way, beats me to it. He, on the very same week as this very pod was meant to be recorded, digs up this 30-year-old film and makes the Glenn Beck connection before I do. What am I going to do, Nick? As I said earlier, I don't copy. It's not how to move forward. However, what I can say is, Charlie, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to illegally download your material anymore. And Nick, no more bloody trips to London. In summary, I appeal to you, every one of you, go out and get this movie, because it's not going to be on TV too often because of a mix-up with some distribution rights between Fox and MGM. Fox, that's fitting. Remember, don't just look at the acting, directing. It's all about the power of this movie, predicting the world we live in today and the media that feeds us. It's all about, Nick.
The power of this movie is all about the fact that they foreseen everything in terms of mass media, communication and journalism.
They all
Although I know that you think that journalists are usually a bag of snakes.
A bag of snakes. They're all snakes, man.
Bag of snakes.
Never trust them.
Don't invite them to your party.
They're only out for themselves. So where do you work? The Department of Justice. Oh, which bit? IT. Oh, all right. Sorry. Half an hour later. Oh, where do you work? The Department of Justice. Which bit? IT. Oh, goodbye. We've been to too many bloody parties to see through these journalists. Even though a few journalists listen to the podcast, still...
We do apologize.
No, we don't.
We do.
Bag of snakes. Perfect. You're a bag of snakes. And that's it for Beyond the Exposition this episode. We can't really say this week or month any longer, Nick. We'll all be here. Will you be here?
Really soon. Really soon.
Okay. Oh, Nick has pledged to return. What if you get that job in London?
We will return.
What if the people in London find out about your job in Denmark?
We will return.
What if the people in London and Denmark find out about your job in Ireland?
We will return.
What about if the people in London and Denmark and Ireland find out about this podcast? We'll be famous. See, yeah. All right, with that oath of allegiance, I didn't say I was going to be back. Hell, I'll be back.
Yeah.
All right, that's all from me this week, Donnacha and
Nico.
All right, ciao.
Ciao.
This has been a Major Headache production.
I am a lady.
Yes, he's saying I'm a lady.
Sidney.